Today in cars, a dealership selling a woman's car after she brought it in for repairs, a DUI without drinking a single drop of alcohol, and California's new plans to tax drivers. This is Today in Cars episode 2. Let's hop into it. A Knoxville woman brought her car into the dealership for repairs, and then that dealership proceeded to go ahead and sell the car out from under her. Lindsay Thompson bought her car from Cherokee Auto Sales in Tennessee and is now forced to borrow a car to get around. She bought herself a 2005 Ford Taurus last June, and it appears as if more than one crime was committed because $6,000 for an old Taurus. That right there is just wow. She added a $995 service contract on top for peace of mind, which covered her for 12 months or 12,000 miles if any of the major systems were to cause an issue with the car. And it did come up. The transmission went out on the Taurus. Lindsay hit up the dealer. They sent out a tow truck. And a week later, she checked in with the dealer only to find out that the car was gone. And per the news report that went along with it, it seems like Cherokee didn't really have an answer for what happened with Lindsay's car. Lindsay does admit that she put more than 12,000 miles on the car, so it's probably out of warranty. But that doesn't mean that you just sell the car to somebody else. Lindsay's currently working with an attorney and the State Department of Commerce and Insurance to try to get something back in what has to be one of the most frustrating situations possible. The news station did reach out to Cherokee Auto and there was no response. I feel like there has to be some sort of reasonable explanation that we're just not getting here. If not, maybe it's time for Lindsay to hire the Lincoln lawyer. That was probably the worst joke ever. I'm so sorry. I can't promise that the dad jokes won't keep coming, though. A man in Belgium managed to get a DUI without drinking a single drop of alcohol. You're probably thinking that I'm just buying somebody's lame excuse. Nope. There was an unnamed brewery worker who was said to have been stopped by the police and found to have been driving under the influence. He even failed the breathalyzer test that said that he was way past the legal limit. When things went to court, the case would end up being thrown out. If you thought that the guy from the brewery suffering from auto brewery syndrome was satire, I absolutely wouldn't blame you one bit. But basically, the condition comes about due to bacteria in your gut being fermented into ethanol. It produces all of the effects of having a few too many to drink, including lack of coordination, memory loss, or even the potential for aggressive behavior to come about. There are even some people who get it so bad that their blood alcohol content measures up to fatal levels, all without drinking that single drop of alcohol. I know what you're thinking here, and I have to warn you that if you end up making a bad decision and you try and say you have this, they are going to figure it out. So why don't we all just make good decisions here and choose to drive safely without drinking? Just when people thought that they might be able to save a little bit of money by driving an EV, California comes along and does the unthinkable. Well, actually, if you know California, maybe this isn't so far-fetched. Newsweek relays that the Golden State is giving considerations to the idea of charging drivers by the mile. Originally, they put their grubby little hands on people's money by charging a gasoline tax, but with their fully electric by 2035 plan, that isn't necessarily feasible now, is it? With that, they just realized that they might have cut off a major revenue stream, a revenue stream that they can use to still ignore their homeless problem. In all seriousness, the gas tax is one that currently pays for road maintenance in California, so without that tax, they're looking for a new stream of income. The article says that Californians are currently paying about $300 a year in gas taxes on average, and the $100 annual registration fee that comes with EVs leaves a $200 million per year loss in the budget. Therefore, California's been tinkering with this per mile tax to span the gap and keep their budget without this newfound hole. If put in place, this tax will hit Californians with a 3-cent per mile tax, which would stand to give the state a raise, as the average Californian driver would be paying about $375 every year in mileage taxes. So, what do you think? Is this a good way to fund road work, or is California missing the mark?